In certain mythology, an owl is known as a symbol for wisdom, an omen of death, or a bringer of prophecy. By the end of this story, you'll find out which of the three it brought Justin.
Welcome to Eerie Files. Do you believe?
I grew up in a small town with hardly anything to do. Most people choose to get into drugs, party, or deliberately get into trouble. But sometimes, trouble chooses you. It will find you in the most unexpected ways, latching onto you like a bad stench you can't wash off. This happened in the summer between high school and college, but it's something I'll truly never forget or fully understand. It was a confusing time. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, so I partied extra hard to forget about reality. I was headed in a bad direction, but I only had one goal at the time: distraction. Coming home past 2 a.m. after a night of drinking became a routine, like brushing my teeth or flossing. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but didn't want to fix myself. It was a lot easier to undo myself. That's okay, because the universe has a funny way of fixing you. It doesn't point you in the right direction as much as it pushes you off a cliff towards it. It started late one Saturday night as I drove down the same streets I always did, past the middle school where I had my first girlfriend, and the 2 vacant parking lots where we had our first kiss, which led to my childhood suburban neighborhood. I was hauling ass per usual when I spotted something in the middle of the road next to the first vacant park. Sitting in the middle of the road was what looked like a tall brown paper bag. Admittedly, I drove even faster to run over it. Even a smile spread across my face. Something else to destroy, I thought. For some reason, this felt different. As I came closer and closer to this obstruction in my path, I leaned forward in my seat, looking past the steering wheel. This bag started to morph from something inanimate to something alive. All of a sudden, the top of the bag moved. I nearly threw up as the head twisted around, revealing not 1, but 2 yellow eyes. The type of eyes that can see the real you. The kind of eyes that look past your eyes and into your soul. I then realized what it was. It was one of the biggest owls I've ever seen in my life. And like a game of chicken, in that instant, it won. It knew my every move. It knew I would buckle. I swerved left and almost plowed head on into an oncoming car. What the fuck? I swore this car appeared almost as mysteriously as the owl did. I was convinced that I was the only one driving on that road just a second ago. After swerving away just in time, I glanced in my rearview mirror. They were nowhere to be seen. I slammed on my brakes. The only thing illuminated by the red of my brake lights was that same pair of eyes. They were now painted red, but staring directly into mine, and stayed that way until they drifted into the darkness as I sped away. At the time, I figured it was just some freak occurrence, but little did I know that was just a precursor of what waited for me. The following weekend, I drove down that same road after a night of partying. I was coming up to the first vacant park, the same one I saw the giant owl at, but it wasn't there. My foot got a little heavier on the gas pedal as I cranked my music and came up to the second vacant park. Just gravel and streetlights, nothing out of the ordinary. I turned onto my street and nearly had a heart attack when I saw those same big yellow eyes staring back at me in the middle of the road. I hit the brakes and lowered my window as I slowly drove past this huge winged creature. Its head followed me as if its head was tethered to mine. Now this thing was on my exact street. Did it follow me last time, watching me from afar? This was getting strange. Was this some weird coincidence? I didn't tell anyone. Figured that was the last time I'd see this entity anyways. The following weekend, like clockwork, I was driving home from yet another night out of drinking, only this time I drove way slower than usual as I waited for this owl to appear in the road again. I drove past the first vacant park, the second vacant park, then onto my street. I looked at the exact spot I saw the owl last time, yet this time it wasn't around. Nowhere to be seen, thank God. I felt a sense of relief as I picked up speed traveling down the street. I parked right in front of my parents' house. I stepped out of the car, and as I looked back to lock the car door, the taillights flashed, and I saw it. It wasn't by the park or on the street. This same winged creature was perched right on the fire hydrant, right in front of my parents' actual home. This was way past disturbing. As my blood went cold, I knew this wasn't just some random coincidence anymore. I walked backwards towards the door. Those judging yellow eyes just followed my every move. It wasn't until I was covered by the large bushes next to the front door that I felt hidden and out of sight. I had grown up with a lot of paranormal ghost occurrences that were more than hair-raising at times, but this was different. What did this owl want? I felt like this thing cursed me. Friends stabbed me in the back. My long-term relationship ended, and I now had developed horrible insomnia. The only solace I found was at the bottom of each bottle, in every house I lost myself in. The following weekend, I almost didn't even go out, for fear of this thing showing up again. I didn't need anything else falling apart on me. Was that silly? Was that irrational? Or not? I would soon find out. I came home earlier this time, foolishly thinking I would be one step ahead. My apprehension grew as I spotted the first drizzle. Then it started to rain. I drove cautiously past the middle school, the first vacant park, the second vacant park, slowly onto my street. I zoomed in on the spots I had seen it before. I zeroed in on the hydrant from at least 50 yards down and was happy to see nothing was there waiting for me. I parked the car and did a quick last look down the street both ways. The rain had stopped. It was quiet, and those eyes were nowhere to be seen. I smiled. I figured that was it. This thing had moved on. I felt my confidence come back as I approached the front door. I spun the keys around my finger as I approached. I was mere feet away from the door when something happened that scared the living shit out of me. I heard something loud, something deafening in this otherwise quiet night. This giant shape appeared right in front of me. It happened so quickly that I almost didn't even realize what was going on. That is, until I saw those same giant yellow eyes darting directly at my face. I swiftly ducked and almost fell onto the cement right before those eyes met mine. This owl was waiting for me, right by the door to the house, hiding behind the same bushes that shielded me last time. It flew out like a phantom, aiming at me. This time I had to tell someone. If it got closer and closer each time, then where would it be next time? I did not want to find out. I've never been one to believe in religion, but after this, I wasn't sure what to believe. My friend was seeing a religious girl at the time, and they picked me up to hang out. They could tell something was off about me, more quiet than usual. My words a little shaky. I decided to tell them the story, everything that's been happening to me. I thought they would think it was silly, but I was surprised with how serious they took my words. His girlfriend must have seen how affected I was by this thing, so she asked me to repeat this prayer with her in front of my house. It sounds strange, but I felt a little lighter after saying it. I'm not sure if the owl was forcing me to get my life together or not, but in a weird way, it worked. I decided to go easy on the partying and actually start thinking about my future. It wasn't the last time I drive home late down those streets. Every once in a while I'll think of the owl and see those yellow eyes once again, but more frightening, I can hear the thunderous fluttering sound its wings made as it flew right past my head. Have you had an eerie experience? Submit your stories to eeriefiles. Submit@gmail.com. Maybe next time, the story will be yours. Like and subscribe, and follow us for more.